The full moon in Scorpio on May 1st can bring catharsis, profound personal and emotional truth. It can help you decide what you don't want, say no to something, or simply get clear on a plan of action. At the end of the day, with the moon trine Jupiter in Cancer, you might feel more hopeful, connected, and optimistic after this kind of fairly intense full moon that we're going to have in Scorpio. So, I'm Alexander Krieg, astrologer and psychic medium, otherwise known as Dog Star Oracle. In this video, we're going to be talking about the astrology of the full moon in Scorpio coming in this week, right around noon, by the way, noon Mountain Time on Friday, May 1st. And we're going to be discussing the aspects that the full moon is making and what you should know about the general astrology, as well as a reading for your rising signs. So if you're enjoying the vibe so far, make sure that you're subscribed, make sure that you like the video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss something when I do post on YouTube. And special hello to those of you listening to the audio only version of this video as well on my podcast. So let me know in the comments what you might be feeling kind of coming up with this full moon in Scorpio, because the full moon in Scorpio is always a really good time to kind of release stagnant energy. So before we get started with this video, I do want to talk about little bit about Patreon. So I have a healing guided meditation for the full moon in Scorpio that helps you to like release, reset, clear out stagnant energy, gives you some idea for ritual, and helps you do some energy work on yourself kind of via this guided meditation. So that is going to be available ad free in my Patreon, as well as if you need a little insight and message from the universe, a little mini kind of full moon reading. That's also available in my Patreon as well. So if you're looking for some kind of regular guidance, if you want, more of kind of like deeper kind of work to do with the full moon, make sure you check that out. The link is going to be in the show notes, in the comments here on YouTube, or simply you can go to my website, dogstarOracle.com, and that'll be under New Moon Circle. So let's go ahead and talk about what's coming up for this full moon. So with this incoming full moon in Scorpio, we also want to think about we're in the midpoint of Taurus season, or getting close to the midpoint of Taurus season. The sun in Taurus is a fixed earth sign. It is practical. It is about being here in the now and present moment, being in your body, security, cozy creature comforts, like grounded energy, like also the time when we have kind of these new beginnings from Aries season that are now kind of starting to bloom, right? Like Earth just kind of comes alive, at least, here in the northern hemisphere during spring. And so when we have a full moon in Scorpio, that's always going to happen in Taurus season. And it's like where we have this very kind of grounded, physical, sensual kind of pleasure energy with the sun in Taurus. With the full moon in Scorpio, the moon is exalted in the sign of Taurus, which means like it likes those cozy creature comforts, like the moon is about like the body as well as emotions. And the moon being in Taurus's opposite sign means that she is in her fall. So the moon is not really able to find like a lot of emotional comfort in the sign of Scorpio, but instead the moon finds a lot of emotional depth and bravery to confront the shadow during full moons in Scorpio. And this full moon in Scorpio, I think, can indicate, a bit of a like intense release, essentially. The sense of clearing out, like, if we think of like emotional energy and different if we think of if we think of like our energetic body and our emotions, sometimes emotions can get kind of stuck, or like energy can kind of settle in, and the moon in Scorpio is really good for like uprooting and clearing out things that we didn't even realize were stagnant and were kind of held back. So during a full moon in Scorpio, for some of us, that might look like just like having like a really good cry, kind of just like letting out those tears. Scorpio is a water sign, and it is connected to emotions, intuition, just sort of knowing and feeling something in your gut and not really having like a logical explanation for it. And Scorpio is also a water sign that is ruled by Mars. Scorpio is the one water sign that is ruled by a malefic planet, is ruled by Mars. Now, Mars is this planet of action, of passion, and motivation, but could also be like, hey, like approaching conflict. Things we associate with Mars are like swords and steel and fire. So Scorpio, we get the sign of Scorpio that is this passionate water sign, and it is not afraid to confront things that might feel uncomfortable. again, kind of confronting the shadow. So the full moon in Scorpio can really like indicate a very kind of intense release or like some kind of profound realization. The moon in Scorpio just simply is not afraid to go there. Um, this moon is about finding emotional depth, about finding truth, about looking at things that might feel a little taboo or, that we might ordinarily may not want to look at essentially. And so the moon in Scorpio can be some sort of like emotional, personal, like catharsis, like a good cry is always like a good, like nice, I wouldn't say it's like a nice thing, but it ends up being like a really positive thing under Scorpio because, um, the moon in Scorpio can kind of make us deal with stagnant emotional energy, stagnant energy kind of around us in general, and kind of help clear out that stuff. So whether that is like really good exercise or even like sexual energy under the moon in Scorpio, there's some kind of like release, some kind of vigorous release that can come out during this full moon. And, again, like you might be drawn to the taboo. You might be drawn to what is hidden or secret or, kind of like locked away in like the shadow. And Scorpio really has a lot to do with all of those things. So the moon in Scorpio really very much about getting deep, about confronting sort of hidden things. At the same time, the moon is making a really kind of nice aspect to the planet Jupiter. And it's making a trine aspect. And a trine is like a harmonious, kind of flowing energy. And trines in traditional astrology are an aspect that are of Jupiter itself. So, meaning like the moon is in a very flowing, kind of easy place with Jupiter. And so it does kind of give this full moon maybe a sense of goodwill and uplifting energy. And like if there is an intense release, you may arrive at a place like afterward that is more optimistic, that is more hopeful, and that is like more spiritually connected. And it sort of will help you kind of get to this place of like just big picture emotional truth. Like at the end of the day, it's going to feel like, oh, it's all going to be okay. I'm glad I had that good cry or that like realization. Scorpio is also a tremendously psychic, intuitive sign. It just knows what it knows. And so this might connect you, more to your intuition, to your gut feelings. This is like a really good time to like work with your spirit team to pull a tarot card or two to maybe kind of, connect to some kind of ritual. And again, I'm going to have that full moon guided meditation up for you guys as well. So check that out if you're wanting to kind of really move some energy. So the ruler of this full moon is Mars. And Mars, like I mentioned, is action, it's war, it's conflict, it's passion, right? And Mars is in one of its home signs. One of them is actually Scorpio, but the other one is Aries. And Mars is in Aries. It is a cardinal fire sign that is about charging forward, about kind of just going with your gut. And, Mars in Aries is like very fierce, pointy, and very sharp kind of energy. And so, Mars and Aries kind of being the guide for this full moon. Number one, you actually may get clear on something, and that could be that you are wanting to say no to something. No is a complete sentence, essentially. And because Mars is it's moved past Saturn at this point, but it was conjunct Saturn over this last new moon. And Saturn can be about limitations and boundaries. So this can be setting a boundary, saying no to something, or on the opposite side of things, this can be, kind of deciding on a plan of action, like clearing something away with this full moon so that we can charge forward and do it courageously, essentially. Because Mars in Aries is like, who are we fighting? What are we trying to accomplish? Let's get it done. Let's go now. There is this kind of fiery passion underneath this full moon. Like really tuning into some kind of warrior energy is very much kind of aligned with this full moon in Scorpio. The Mars will be square Jupiter at the time of this full moon. And that combination, so that energy is going to be kind of underneath everything with this full moon. Mars and Jupiter, when they get together, there can be some stuff like some things around like courage, essentially. Like take heart, let's charge forward. There's a sort of like, there's a sense of optimism in that I can do it. With the square aspect, there can be a tendency to bite off a little bit more than you can chew, or can encourage you to take a risk. So if you are taking a risk, if you are doing something courageous or starting something, or if the plan of action is coming together under this full moon, consider that you might be taking on a little bit more than you think. Like I don't necessarily think this is like a bad aspect by any means. I think it can also infuse this full moon with like, it infuses like the plan of action with like the big picture, with like the sense of spiritual meaning, or but but again, a square aspect to Jupiter can just kind of mean that you can overextend yourself a little bit, or that you're taking some kind of risk. So just use caution if you are doing so. So let's go ahead and do a check-in / reading for the rising signs now. So if you are watching my videos for the first time, know that I primarily do these horoscopes for the rising signs. That's how horoscopes are designed. So I would look at your rising sign first, and then if you want, you can blend in the meaning of your sun or moon sign forecast with that as well. But I'd look at the rising sign first. If you're watching on YouTube, you can simply click on your rising sign forecast by just clicking through those chapters on YouTube. If you're listening on the audio, you can pause right now, and then you can go ahead and go to the show notes and find the timestamps where your sign's forecast begins. So, and again, I don't have your individual chart in front of me, but I'm going to do the best I can to look at the important themes for your sign. If you're wanting a personalized reading, you can book one of those at my website, darkstaroracle.com. Okay, let's go ahead and get to these rising sign forecasts. Aries rising, let's start with you. Even before I get to this full moon, I wanted to mention Mars first. Remember that there's still a bunch of planets still in Aries. So you feel pretty busy right now, or like that there's just, kind of like a lot going on with you since that new moon in Aries 2 weeks ago. So what I wanted to mention is that Mars has started to kind of break free from the shackles of Saturn. Mars wants to do what it wants to do. And so since Mars rules Aries, Mars is very much you in this case. So this is kind of time where I think you can start sort of building some momentum under this full moon. It's like this full moon, it kind of just clears the way. It's sort of like clearing whatever's in your way energetically, emotionally, getting you clarity, releasing, etc. So you can like really like get a plan of action together, or really just kind of like charge forward and go forward. Because Mars was conjunct Saturn the last full moon, and that's a very kind of binding energy. It's sort of like Mars wants to get going, wants to go to battle, but Saturn is saying, wait, be patient, or it's like it's not the right timing, or it's going to take longer than you think. It's like this kind of like restrictive energy. And since Mars is now kind of free from that, it's really like feel like you're going to feel very kind of bold under this kind of under this full moon. And for the next few weeks, that let me see how long Mars is in Aries, I forget. So until about May 18th, it's really, really go time for you. Really, really go time. So just keep that in mind. This is time to be brave, to charge forward, to initiate things. And just and generally, you might be feeling like a little bit more like, frankly, like feisty, warlike. Mars is war, a little bit more impulsive, like a feeling of like, let's just do it. Like you have that energy connected to you right now. So just letting you know that. The full moon itself in Scorpio is your 8th house. And that can definitely be some sort of profound emotional release, because 8th house stuff can be like stored emotions, stored trauma, or just kind of more hidden things, essentially. So that can be like a release of that, or some kind of realization, or like epiphany kind of moment. 8th house is also like deep relationship stuff too. 7th house, like I always say, is like partnerships where like relationships are starting to be like are formed. 8th house is sort of like the intimate bonds that we share, the emotional energy that we exchange. So there can be some kind of like relationship insight under this full moon, maybe allowing you to get like a little bit deeper. And this can also be financial. 8th house can be money stuff. So bank account, like, you know, especially like when it's shared stuff, like shared bank accounts or or anything connected to debts or investments, credit cards, student loans, inheritances, things like that. There can just be more energy around this full moon of like something being illuminated, something completed out here. So there could be something financial that we are having some sort of action on or some kind of illumination on. And reminder that this full moon is trine Jupiter down in your fourth house of home and family. So there could be maybe some kind of family healing or some kind of healing tied to family dynamics or home or something like that coming up with this full moon for you. So interesting full moon for you. I really feel it's like clearing out the clutter for you so you can really proceed forward, is what it's looking like for you, Aries. Taurus, we have the full moon is going to be in your Taurus. The full moon is in your seventh house of partnerships. This is definitely a pretty active full moon for you. You know, the seventh house is an angular house. It's felt really strongly. It has to do with your relationships and partnerships of all kinds, you know, whether that is your best friend, a business partner, a romantic partner, your contractual obligations as well. And so definitely like relationship stuff could be coming in for you. This could be like really like, you know, some kind of completion or like a next chapter, or maybe getting deeper in a partnership or relationship, maybe illuminating some relationship dynamics that might need to shift or might allow you to just kind of go deeper in your relationships. Because again, Scorpio is like depth. It's very much not surface energy. This could be time to maybe clear the air with something in relationships as well and kind of sweep, you know, stagnant energy away, or really kind of like have like a, you know, a talk about something. It is trine Jupiter in your third house of like communication and correspondence. So this could be really good for, you know, having a heart to heart, having some kind of communication or dialogue, and really kind of, you know, just kind of airing it out essentially. So whether that's again, you know, a romantic partner, a business partner, a friend, whatever, there is some kind of mutually beneficial energy when it comes to kind of talking things out. And reminder that Mars rules this full moon. Mars is in the 12th house for you right now. So, you know, Mars and Aries, there still is an energy of like boldly charging forward, taking action on something. However, all the Aries planets are in your 12th house. So maybe you're working more in the background on something. I also want you to notice too kind of what gets stirred up this full moon. If like something is aggravating you, like in the background, if there's something that you're not like sharing that's like secretly bothering you, this could be a time when you're kind of bringing that out and kind of sharing about that. Or you're simply kind of working on something in the background, that's something that's maybe not super public as of yet, essentially. Um, so yeah, definitely a relationship oriented full moon for you. Again, this is your season. We have that new moon in Taurus coming up for you next time. So there's kind of there's new beginnings or energy around the corner for you. But this full moon, I feel like this feeling of sweeping something away or releasing something tied to relationship. Gemini rising. The full moon for you is going to be in your sixth house. So things connected to work, coworkers, how you work routines could have something to do with like physical body health or exercise. Also, sixth house is pets as well. So all of those themes are in play under this full moon. So this could be something as simple as like, oh, like completing a job, like there's like an ending connected to work, or maybe like a coworker leaves. There's some kind of like chapter that's shifting when it comes to daily work energy, what your work in general looks like right now. It could be some kind of physical health issue that you're kind of dealing with, or just like, and there's maybe, and again, with this full moon at Scorpio, there's some kind of, you know, catharsis or like emotional release. Maybe you're realizing like, hey, it's time to move on. It's time to do something different connected to work or my health. You know, maybe there's just stuff with pets that's really loud for you right now. There could be stuff with pets that is really like loud for you right now as well. Um, but that does seem to be where the action is for you. I will say if there is something connected to work, it is speaking to, there is that nice connection to Jupiter, which is that planet of expansion, which is moving through your second house of income. So there could be some changes around work that like maybe leads to more money, or there's like some like positive conversation with Jupiter about like, how can we expand our income, our resources? There's a conversation between the moon and Jupiter connected to like money stuff that is positive. Um, the full moon is ruled by Mars. And, Mars can be motivation and action. It can be inflammation too. So Mars is moving through your 11th house right now. So there could be stuff with like, we could be really focused and motivated around like friends and networking. It's like it could be like a very kind of active energy connected to social and professional life. However, Mars can also be inflammation. So this can be talking about maybe some friction within kind of friend groups recently, or, kind of what groups do I belong to? Like, where do I fit in? This could be very driven energy also to connected to like your hopes, wishes, and dreams for the future. Because the 11th house is sort of like what you're wanting. I kind of look at it as like what you're wanting to manifest, So Mars here, you could be like releasing something around work, or there's something with work and health. And it's also speaking to something about like taking action connected to like what your dreams for the future are. And also reminder too, Mars can sometimes mean friction in this area with coworkers, with people that you're networking with, and with colleagues, like really driven to take action here, but sometimes that can be friction with that as well. That's kind of what I'm seeing for you under this full moon, Gemini. Cancer rising, what do we got for you? Cancer rising, the full moon for you is happening in the 5th house. So, okay, couple things here. So, 5th house energy, this could be some kind of realization, some insight, some release, some completion. Connected to could be a pregnancy matter or something connected to your children. They could be having something kind of going on in their lives right now, or we could be dealing with something with some kind of pregnancy or child. For most people, it's going to be maybe connected to. It's probably not going to be pregnancy, but I don't know why I brought that up first. But that is a 5th house topic. This could also be like you could be really focused, or there could be something happening that is deeply emotional or profound or deep, connected to romantic energy, to sexual energy, to creative energy. So we could be completing out maybe some kind of creative project. There could be a lot of activity or kind of louder energy around our hobbies, our things that we do for fun. There could be a lot of energy right now connected to maybe something hot connected to a romantic relationship, right? You could be, this could be someone that you're dating and you're kind of considering going to the next level with them. This could be about meeting someone. Sometimes a full moon can be about like culminating with like just like meeting someone, like sparks flying with someone. I really like this energy for you. In Cancer rising, like, whatever's connected to like creative energy and hobbies and romance, you pursue that with some kind of passion and intensity, because you do have Scorpio ruling this part of the chart. And this moon in Scorpio is speaking to Jupiter in your sign. So there's something like positive or expansive for you or meaningful that is connected to a romantic energy, that is connected to something creative, something that you're doing for fun. I really would indulge something fun, something with sexual energy, or, like some kind of like release of some kind would feel really good for you under this full moon. And again, it could just be like some sort of like creative drive thing. This full moon is ruled by Mars in Aries, which is still making its way across your 10th house of career. So Mars is more unrestricted at this point. And so coupled with this full moon energy, we could be feeling like we're kind of finally moving in we're getting shit done connected to career. It's like we are motivated by like professional goals. We're taking action. Mars can be inflammation too. So, this could be maybe some clashes with authority figures or coworkers or something like that. But in general, like coupled with this full moon energy, it just feels like it's go time connected to work and professional life stuff for you. Just FYI, along with all this kind of juicy, romantic and creative energy that I was talking about. I will say with this full moon, sometimes it's also knowing when to let go of something or when to say goodbye or end something, especially if you're kind of stuck on like a situationship or what have you. This could be giving you some emotional courage to like let someone go also too. So that's what I'm getting for your full moon in Scorpio for Cancer. Leo rising. What do we got for you? Okay, full moon for you is in the 4th house. So home and family stuff, property, kind of like about where you're from, your parents, ancestors, roots, where you're living. Things of that nature are going to be coming up for this full moon for you. It could be something as mundane as like, oh, I'm going home to see my parents, Could also be like, oh, I had like an emotional conversation with a family member. We like released something or forgave something or we let something go. This does feel like a more spiritual or emotional or deeper full moon for you because it is talking to Jupiter in your hidden 12th house of mental and spiritual health and subconscious things. So this could be home and family stuff. This could be something like releasing something from childhood. Because 4th house energy where your full moon is, yes, it's home and family, but also it's like a kind of deeper foundational psychology, kind of like how we were raised and things like that. So there is something about stirring up something very deep under this full moon for you. It also could be completing, a chapter or something coming in with like moving or some sort of home project being completed. But that's going to be tinged with some kind of intensity or some kind of passion or emotion with this full moon, like a letting go of something, releasing something under this full moon in Scorpio. This full moon is ruled by Mars in Aries for you. So, like Mars moving through your 9th house, we're very connected to, we're kind of we're speaking out about our beliefs. We're very connected to our worldview, our passions. So there's just some kind of connection with like feeling really motivated or needing to take action connected to higher education, travel, really feeling passionately connected to your worldview, your beliefs, and your politics is somehow like connected to this full moon. It's like there's something about boldly standing behind your ideals connected to this full moon somehow. I don't know how to like artfully weave those two things together, but those topics will be playing out at the same time under this full moon. Virgo rising. Full moon for you is in the 3rd house. So, what do I want to talk about here? So, this could be some kind of profound conversation correspondence, because like 3rd house energy is communication, it's correspondence. It's also like your daily rhythms and routines, siblings, neighbors, neighborhood, and also means of transportation. So there could be something coming up here, a completion or some kind of event connected to like how you get around. This could be like, oh, I'm like getting a new car or I'm changing my mode of transportation. There could be also some like, like an emotional conversation with a sibling, or perhaps like a sibling has news. This could be perhaps like a neighbor is moving or some kind of change to your neighborhood. For a lot of you, there's some kind of depth, passion, emotional energy connected to just like, like a profound conversation that we're having kind of under this full moon. This is time to like journal. This would be meditating, pulling a tarot card, those kind of routine daily sort of insights, even like just going for like a walk, because 3rd house is like walking around the block, like walking through our neighborhood, right? And the full moon in Scorpio is like, hey, there's profound insight connected to our daily rhythms and daily movement, essentially. And the moon in traditional astrology is when the moon is moving through the 3rd house, the moon actually really is powerful in the 3rd house. Like the 3rd house is is the house of the goddess, which is connected to the moon. So I just really feel like powerful, intuitive insights and downloads for you connected to, again, pulling a tarot card, journaling, meditating, and even through like a casual conversation with like a neighbor, a sibling, someone out in the world will bring you some kind of insight here. Also, this full moon is ruled by Mars. It's guided by Mars and Aries, and Mars is moving through your 8th house. So you've been maybe taking action on something connected to finances, shared finances, debt, retirement, investments, student loans, inheritances, something like that. There's something that's sort of need that you're taking care of connected to finances there. Or it could be that you're really like having to work through some kind of deeper emotions, right? Because 8th house can be sort of stored trauma, stored emotion, things like that. So there is that element still at play as well. So yeah, that is what I get for you, Virgo rising. Libra rising, what's going on for you? Libra rising. The full moon is in the 2nd house for you. So things connected to resources, cash, money, assets, how you support yourself and sustain yourself in the physical world. So we could be, realizing something we could be sort of like, this might be a good time to kind of look at like where our energy is being wasted, where our money is being wasted. It could be like, hey, like I didn't realize how much I'm spending on like on subscriptions or on spending or something like that. With the full moon in Scorpio, there's something like emotional maybe or some kind of release going on here. So that could just be like, hey, I am looking at my finances and kind of making some decisions, right? So there's something coming up around finances and money for you. It could simply be like, oh, making a big purchase, I'm putting some stuff in savings, or there's something going on with like money and finances for you. At the same time, this moon is talking to Jupiter and in a really favorable, positive way. And Jupiter is moving through your 10th house of career, of your public reputation, your ambitions, your professional goals. Jupiter is expansion and opportunity. So this full moon that we're having in Scorpio, we could be deciding, let's say we're like a freelancer, we could be like, hey, I'm not charging what my actual worth is. I feel like I'm worth more. Or we're having some conversation between money and career things. Or we might be deciding it's like, I would like to make more in my field. I would like to expand somehow. Like it's not really matching up to what I'm earning. Or there's just some sort of change kind of going on with finances and income, or something to pay attention to under this full moon. And this full moon is being ruled by Mars, the planet of action, energy, motivation, in which is moving through your 7th house of Aries. So there's a lot going on for you in relationships, figuring out commitments and how to structure your relationships. Perhaps you've had to engage in some healthy conflict or set a boundary with Mars and Aries, moving through this part of your chart. So this could be like something going on with money, maybe between you and a partner, or how to have, a conversation around finances. Or there could be like two different things going on. It could be a conversation with your career and money stuff. And then also, at the same time, like learning, with Mars and Aries until mid-May, how to say no in a relationship, how to have a conflict, things like that. So they could be like these separate topics, but somehow they're linked under this full moon. Scorpio rising, this full moon is in your sign. Some kind of personal truth coming up for you, some kind of like, you really are the star of this full moon. So you're like, oh, what's going on in the sky? Well, it's a full moon in Scorpio. So again, personal, deep, profound release, some sort of realization, maybe ending of a chapter or transition coming up for you. This can also just like really put you in touch with your body as well. The moon in your 1st house, like the moon has to do with like physical body and stuff. So paying attention to physical body and kind of what's going on with it is really important, especially as this full moon is ruled by Mars, which is moving through your 6th house of health. So there could be, frankly, some kind of health thing coming up for you. Perhaps like you're really working on health and taking care of yourself and exercising. Or there's just some sort of health event kind of going on with this full moon for you. If you do have something health wise coming up, there's a chance that we make a quick recovery because Mars, your ruling planet, is really strong right now in the sign of Aries. And it's like, okay, how do we tackle this? How do we move on? And let's move forward. And there's a lot of conversations in your chart around like, how do I want to work? What do I want my work to look like? What do I want my dream work schedule to look like? And there also could be a lot of stuff going on with like pets for you right now as well, just because with all these planets in your 6th house of pets. But I just feel like personal truth, personal revelations, letting go of something, transitioning to a new chapter, And just kind of like releasing stuff that's buried deep beneath, and you're like, where the hell did that come from? Like that's very much the full moon in Scorpio. Also, and again, I feel like you're going to be like really tuned into that intuition under the full moon in Scorpio. It's really not going to lead you astray under this full moon. And this full moon is talking to Jupiter. It's trine Jupiter in your ninth house of higher education, of spirituality, travel. There could be it's like you're really going to be seeing the big picture, I think, under this energy. It's like, what is spirit trying to show me? What is the meaning and the lesson behind this? Or there's something or there's something literally connected to higher education or spirituality or travel with this full moon for you. So that is what we got for you, Scorpio. So very personal full moon for you. Sagittarius rising. This full moon is in your 12th house. So since this is a full moon, this is illumination. This is showing you something that was previously hidden to you. Whether that is something about your own subconscious, your subconscious beliefs, your mental health and spirituality is very highlighted here. It's saying like those things are really important. I would really be paying attention to your dreams, like messages from the universe, very strong under this full moon. And also this could be showing you too, frankly, um, because 12th house is can be self-sabotage, or it can also be people or situations in your life that can be like working against you secretly. So this could sort of show you like, hey, like I thought this person was in my corner, or I thought this thing was really good for me, but it might actually be draining my energy. So there's something really important connected to hidden things, spirituality, mental health, healing under this full moon, or showing you what is like toxic in your life so you can release that. It's really important under this full moon, especially because this full moon is trine Jupiter in in your hidden eighth house. And the eighth house is, can be about like relationship dynamics or shared money stuff and financial stuff. So there is like a regeneration or a healing aspect to this full moon. It just feels like a bit. This full moon feels more private and for more inner world kind of stuff. This full moon being ruled by Mars in Aries, I think it's important for you to be connecting to your passions here. There's something about passions, creativity, hobbies, romance, sexual energy, children, pregnancy. That's important like around this full moon as well. We have a bunch of planets in Aries still in your fifth house. With Mars, this full moon being ruled by Mars in your fifth house, it's like, it's either like motivated to have some fun, to connect to your passions, or like, hey, it's like I'm wanting to have fun. I'm wanting to have a relationship or a romantic thing or a creative thing, but there's something in the way. It's like Mars is about like cutting and severing. And so like if there is something in the way there, it's like you're going to figure out how to, I'm not sure not sure that I'm really saying this right. I just want to say it's important for you to have some fun under this full moon. And if you're not having fun, Mars is going to help you kind of figuring out like where is the block so you can cut that kind of out of your life. But I just feel like inner healing for this full moon for you, Sagittarius rising. Capricorn rising, full moon for you is in the 11th house. So there's some kind of illumination or completion or something going on, either connected to your hopes, wishes, and dreams for the future. Maybe it's that you haven't been very clear as to what those are. Maybe those things are changing. Maybe what you thought you wanted, you don't want anymore. There could be something coming up with like a group that you belong to, whether that's like a formal club or group or group association, or just like something going on in your social group. This could be like an active kind of social full moon, or there's some kind of intense thing that is connected to your social groups, to your colleagues, your friends and associates. There's maybe something going on with that. And again, it's Scorpio, so it's like intense. Like there's just like a like an emotional release, or there's a realization. And this does seem to be relationship oriented, because the moon is trine Jupiter in your 7th house of partnerships and relationships. So like, this could be like, hey, I'm really connecting on a deep soul level with, someone I met in like a group I'm in. This could also be like, hey, like, I think it's best if I cut ties with a friend right now. And that's going to be like mutual healing for us both if we just kind of move on. There's something relationship oriented that does bring healing, and that is very much about like connecting on a deep level, or again, like letting someone go. There's also something maybe kind of going on with family and home for you right now because this full moon is ruled by Mars. Mars is in Aries in your fourth house of home and family. So this could be talking about some kind of extended home renovation project, or perhaps home is just busy lately. Maybe there's some conflicts within family right now. Or that sort of work, there's like work being done in your life that's sort of not outwardly visible. So there could be something kind of going on with that connected to this full moon as well. Aquarius rising. This full moon is going to be in your, where are we at here? Okay. This is a 10th house full moon for you. So there could be something significant happening in career, in your professional life, in your public reputation that's public and kind of loud. This could be some kind of realization about your career. It could be like, I'm not really going in the direction that I thought I was. And so I'm needing to change some things. Or this could be, you receiving some kind of attention, some kind of big transition or completion coming up for you as well here, or just some something's going on in career. It feels very loud. So those personal truths that I was talking about, those epiphanies, the healing, or just busy energy. It's connected to career or like very like public life, public and professional life things. That could also be like, some really important energy connected to like an authority figure or a boss coming through as well. I will say this does feel helpful for career in the long run. It is trining Jupiter, the planet of expansion, of optimism, of hope, moving through your sixth house, which is, things connected to work, your daily work routines. So there is this connection of like, hey, maybe something expanding in career, something expanding between your career and kind of work parts of your chart that are really kind of nicely kind of coming together here. I will say under this full moon, you have a very sharp tongue. It's ruled by Mars and Aries, moving through your third house of communication and correspondence. And until around like May 18th, you just are speaking your mind a little bit more loudly or a little bit more direct. When I was saying earlier, no is a complete sentence. It's very much you right now. It's like, hey, I'm gonna tell you what I think. There's something about having maybe heated conversations, around having very pointed conversations. Under this full moon. So keep that in mind. I don't want that to get you in trouble, but at the same time, I do think speaking your mind is like something that is kind of emphasized for you under this full moon. Pisces rising. So this full moon, we have this full moon is going to be in your ninth house. Really emphasizing things connected to your spirituality, your beliefs, your politics, your worldview. There could be some completion or some activity connected to travel, connected to a higher education thing. Perhaps it's like, oh my God, I finished a course, or maybe you're interested in like taking some kind of course at like around this full moon. This could be some significant interactions with people from another culture or place. Because ninth house is connected to travel. So there's something about like expanding your worldview, about having some profound realization connected to education or spirituality at this time, or something that just like really grabs you connected to that. I would say also ninth house can be prophecy and dreams. So I would be paying attention to your dreams, maybe writing them down. If you're needing an answer or insight to something, the moon moving through the ninth house can like sort of like the universe, God, goddess, the universe, spirit speaks to you under this energy. It's like that profound truth, just like knowing, if you're needing just some like insight from the universe, some direction, this is a good full moon to ask for it. I would like whip out your tarot cards. This is like, might be time that you might be thinking about getting a reading or something. Just because ninth house is very connected to spirituality. So there's something going on for that here. There's like answers here. There's like deep, profound realizations kind of coming through under this full moon for you. I will say this moon is ruled by Mars and Aries, moving through the second house. There could be something connected to your spending or money. Maybe you've been feeling some pinch or some restrictions in that part of your chart, or feeling like there's some sort of challenge that you need to undertake connected to financial and money stuff. So you could be connecting to, it's like there could be this undercurrent of like, I need to make some money, or I need to figure out, or like I'm dealing with something kind of financial, or I'm like really hustling. I'm like really just like, I'm working hard. I'm trying to make the bag, baby. Like, so there's something connected to that at the same time too. I did want to mention this moon is trine Jupiter as well. And Jupiter is your traditional ruling planet. So don't forget the importance of your passions, your creativity. Um, because Jupiter moving through Cancer means it's moving through your fifth house. So things connected to romance, to creativity, hobbies, things connected to the heart, pregnancy, and children. There's some kind of expansion for you in that area until the end of June. So this moon is sort of speaking very gently to that part of your chart. And it could be saying, like, don't forget to have fun, don't forget to feel, don't forget to, whatever's going on in your material world. Don't forget to take care of yourself spiritually and like with your heart. That is what I got for you, Pisces rising.